What's good, y'all? Welcome back. We are back home. It's free agency week. You know I got to be our article ready. One realistic trade or free agent target for every NBA team. So we'll talk a little bit about all 30 teams in today's video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I will be streaming the early stages of free agency. I told you on the last video I want to start streaming a lot more. I think free agency is a good time to start that. So make sure you are subscribed. You got post notifications on. And leave a like on this video. It helps out the channel a lot. Almost 600 subs. Let's get into this article by Andy Bailey. You see DA is the cover guy. I'm not sure where DeAndre Ayton's going to go. I've seen a lot of different teams. I think the Nets odds went up randomly yesterday. The Pacers have been in a lot of talks. So we'll see, man. But the first team is going to be the Atlanta Hawks. And that will be Rudy Gobert for the Hawks. I want to see if they have any trade packages because that's obviously what will have to happen with Rudy. It says the mechanism will be a trade. The Hawks are a team that's been in a lot of rumors lately. It seems like they always are in the offseason and a lot of John Collins rumors and stuff like that. But it looks like no trade package that they have together. I would assume it would be something with Clint Capella, either Kevin Huerter or DeAndre Hunter, and maybe some draft capital, maybe some young player. I don't know. I feel like it had to be something in that realm. Maybe John Collins is thrown in there too. I'm not 100% sure. I would like the fit, but I don't know how much better that makes the Atlanta Hawks. You know, with what you would have to give up to make not only salaries match, but just value, because Rudy Gobert is a valuable piece. I'm not sure if that is even worth it at this point. I don't even know if Rudy Gobert is going to be traded this offseason, so that's an interesting one. The Celtics, Kelly Olynyk. I was hoping for a little more. I was hoping for a little bit more. Celtics do have a trade exception. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't hate Kelly O being back, but he adds some outside shooting, which the Celtics do need. They struggled shooting the three-point shot in the finals. Just consistent forward spacing would be nice, but defensively, he just doesn't fit an Ime Udoka type team. You know, the Celtics they built last season being, primarily based on not having any weaknesses defensively. Kelly Olynyk he's not a really good defender, just to keep it honest, bro. I was hoping for a little more, maybe Malcolm Brogdon or Tyus Jones. I don't know. I was hoping for something a little more. But yeah, maybe the Dejounte Murray stuff is just not. It's not happening for us. The Brooklyn Nets, Derek Favors. For those of you who have been living under a rock, Kyrie took his player option. Windhorse reported earlier today that does not rule out the Lakers, but from everything Kyrie said, he said, let's run it back one more time. He's completing his 4-year commitment, so I don't see Kyrie being traded at least this offseason. We'll see what happens during the year. Derek Favors, how much? I don't see how much better, man. And if Nick Claxton leaves, getting Derek Favors, is that an improvement? Offensively, he's better, but this team has struggled defensively, so. Not a fan, but the Nets are just in a weird spot, man. They're in a very weird spot. Mitchell Robinson for the Hornets. Mid-level exception is what is said here. I don't see the realism in this because Mitchell Robinson will probably get more than $10.3 million, which is what the mid-level exception will be for the Hornets. That would be him really lowballing himself. I think he's more valuable than that. If that's the case, I can see him going back to the Knicks for more money because they can offer him more. And plus, they just drafted Mark Williams. So do you even want to invest that much money into, not even that much money, but invest bringing in another center when you just drafted a guy? The Hornets are in a weird spot. I'm not a fan of what they've done so far this offseason. Even though in the draft they got a big, but I didn't like the whole process of drafting Durant and then trading him away. It's just weird, man. They have a log jam in the shooting guard, small forward spots. And I don't like the Steve Clifford hire. I already said that. They're in a weird spot. We'll see what they do, but I don't really see Mitchell Robinson being the guy just because of the money that they have to offer. If that's what they have to offer, you got to bring Miles Bridges back though. Have to. I'm on record, man. I like this a lot. Rudy Gobert to the Chicago Bulls. I really like this trade a lot. Can't lie, man. The Bulls need a defensive-minded big, and nobody is more defensive-minded in the NBA at the center spot than Rudy Gobert. He's a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year, one of the best rim protectors that we've seen. To be honest, he's one of those guys. And I've asked Bull fans, like, would you be willing to give up Patrick Williams? I've heard some say yes. I've heard some say no. Personally, I'm not that high on Patrick Williams. Like, I think he can be really good, but if you want to contend right now, I don't know if waiting for him to develop is going to help your causes. But then again, it's like, well, we want somebody there for when DeMar is either, just not as good anymore or, whatever. But it says here, the Bulls they're not willing to pair Patrick Williams in a trade package, which is just like, I don't know. If I'm the Jazz, I would definitely be pushing to get Patrick Williams, but it's a tough spot. It definitely is. You definitely want to have your young guys, but still be competitive at the same time. It's a tough spot, but hypothetically, I love the fit of Rudy on the Chicago Bulls. I like the fit of Rudy on a lot of different teams. The Cavs, Gary Payton. I saw a report that says Gary Payton was probably going to go back to the Warriors. I don't see why they would, let him walk out the door. But if a team like the Cavs, it says here, mid-level exception would be the mechanism. I would like to see him go get his bag, man. Go get his bag. I think he helps out a lot. He could potentially be maybe not a starter in Cleveland, but get a lot of starter quality minutes with the Cavs. He's shown just a lot of promise. Really elite defensively, does a lot of small things. And you would like somebody with his defensive instincts on the court with Darius Garland at the same time. Like, that just seems like a good fit. I wouldn't hate that. The Cavs, interesting spot. I like their draft pick with Abaji. So we'll see what they do in the offseason. Colin Sexton, obviously, up for a contract. So they're in a spot where it's like, we can try and bring Colin back. They've been said that they want to bring Rubio back. Like, they're in a spot to really improve their roster and make the playoffs. The Mavs, Otto Porter. Otto Porter seems like a typical dude next to Luka Doncic, 3-and-D player. Would the Warriors be willing to give him up? Because he was pretty cool in, like, that finals run, championship run. Like, I don't know if the Warriors would give him up that easily, but if the Mavs offer him the money, I don't see him passing that up. Don't see him pass, even though his kids are going to be eating for generations because of, what he did playing with John Wall. Shout out to John Wall, too, becoming an LA Clipper, man. That's dope. But, yeah, I don't hate this for the Mavs. I would like to see them maybe do a little more. I think what the target should be is bringing back Jalen Brunson. That should be the target for the Dallas Mavericks. Because if you don't bring him back, man, I'm not a fan of their offseason, even though they got Christian Wood. I'm not a big fan of what they have done if they don't get back Jalen Brunson. Next, Denver Nuggets, Gary Harris. Bring him back home where he had the best years of his career. I just realized he was getting paid like $20 million the last couple of years. Like, Gary Harris got a big, big contract because he was really good. He was putting up like 16 points per game while being a really good defender, and then his offense fell off a cliff. I don't know. I feel like Denver, they're in a weird spot. They're getting guys back. I'm still stuck on how my guy Gabe in the stream the other night said Dejounte Murray to Denver would be so good. I'm stuck on that, man, but they just need to make integral moves to make the roster better. Gary Harris can help with that. It's just a matter of is his offense going to be there once he gets back to Denver? Maybe so. He had a decent stretch last season. I'm not as high on DeAndre Ayton going to Detroit anymore. You got Durant on draft night. You still have Isaiah Stewart. Now, if you get id of Isaiah Stewart, I actually will still like it, but I don't know. I'm not as high on it anymore. I've been seeing people say like Detroit might be out of the running because of that, and I kind of agree. To an extent. We'll see. I think they'll walk away though with either DA or Miles Bridges. I think they will walk away with one of the two. They have so much cap space. They have so much, and if they can get rid of Kelly Olynyk, they have even more. So I wouldn't hate DA there, obviously, because he's such a talented dude. He's a former number 1 overall pick for a reason. But I just don't know if it's as realistic as we thought it was maybe a week and a half ago. I want to see what it says down here as well. It's like, I don't know. They say here paying max money for a center is like iffy, but I think DA's best basketball is ahead of him. And playing with Cade, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey, the floor is going to be open, and he can definitely thrive here. And I think Dwayne Casey will get even more out of his game. Not saying that Monty Williams couldn't, but I think having a new voice for him might be good in a new situation. Just a change of scenery. We might see his game elevate just a little more. So I wouldn't hate it. I just don't know how realistic it is. The Golden State Warriors, Kyle Anderson seems like a Warriors type player. Like, he seems like he would come, fit in, and just play probably some of his better basketball. Just such a smart player. If they lose Otto Porter, this will be fine. The Warriors just find ways to keep getting better. So we'll just move on to the next team. Anthony Simons for, And they did just buy John. It says here, cap space, if John Wall is bought out. John Wall got bought out last night. I've been in the camp. I don't believe in Kevin Porter Jr. being the franchise point guard. I would believe in Anthony Simons being the franchise point guard. And that backcourt dynamic, defensively, might have some questions, but other than that, I like it. It's explosive. It's fun. It's two young guys who have shown that they can be lethal offensive players. I didn't think about Anthony Simons. Hey, sign me up. Sign me up. Whatever it takes. If Portland's not willing to match, hey, throw the bag at him. Throw the bag at him. I wonder how much money they would have to offer. I'm wondering how much money they would have to offer, man, because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with that one, man. Shout out to the Houston Rockets. That would be a big pickup. Pacers, Miles Bridges. I haven't really seen much of this, but I wouldn't hate it. Fit alongside Tyrese, Benedict Mathurin. Whatever you do with Miles Turner. They says they would have the cap space. So I don't know. I feel like Detroit's probably more viable. I think that's more realistic. But I wouldn't hate it, because Miles Bridges is still pretty young. I think he's maybe like 23. Maybe 23 years old. Like, he's still pretty young. And the Pacers would be in a situation where, like, whether you keep Turner or not, they could still be a fun team, somewhat competitive. Rick Carlisle's still the head coach, so Rick Carlisle has aspirations to be coaching a winning team, I'm sure. So I wouldn't hate it, man. I wouldn't hate it. I just don't know if it's happening, but that would be a good target. The Clippers rookie Rubio, I don't really think this is viable anymore. They got John Wall. We'll see how John Wall plays. I still think John Wall has good basketball in him. We saw in this quick stint, 2020, 2021 with the Rockets, he can still play good. He can still get you 7-8 assists while scoring the ball decently. And playing with Kawhi, PG, and others, I think it will just make his game a little more simplified. I think John Wall knows how to play a pure point guard type role. He's just always been asked to do more because he's that talented of a player. But now he can take a back seat, just put guys in position, and try and win a championship, man. But if you can get Rubio as a backup, that would be fine. But I think a lot of teams will be willing to offer Rubio some money. The Celtics, obviously the Cavaliers have been in talks. I think a lot of teams would be willing to pick up Ricky Rubio. So we'll move on to the next one. Yeah, if the rumors are true, it's still on the table, then sure. But Westbrook just took his player option, so we'll see. Lakers are in more of a weird spot. It seemed like Kyrie Irving was going to fall into their lap, and now Rob Pelinka has to actually be a GM, which I don't think he's very capable of. I think he's the real villain when it comes to the Lakers situations, their struggles the last couple of years. So, yeah, I don't know if Kyrie Irving is really even on the table anymore. Bruce Brown for the Grizzlies, I like it. If Kyle Anderson's gone, bring in another wing guy. The Nets, they're probably sick if they can't bring him back because he was very valuable for them. He was shooting 40% from three, even though it was only on 1.5 attempts. He was still shooting pretty good, and he shot decently in the playoffs too. He shot actually pretty good in the playoffs, from at least my memory of that 4-game series. But yeah, the Nets are going to be sick if they can't bring him back. For the Grizzlies, I like him. Still relatively a young guy, so he'll fit in and he'll come in and play good basketball next to Ja. Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, he will fit right into that Grizzlies culture, man. I'm a big fan of Bruce Brown. Shout out to him. He's probably going to get paid this offseason. Donovan Mitchell, I haven't really heard too much rumblings in the trade market for Dono. If he requests out, Miami has a trade package. I've seen some people say that's fine, like the hero-based trade package. I've heard some people say that's not enough for Donovan Mitchell. But if he says he wants to go to Miami, then he'll probably get there one way or another. So we'll see. We'll just have to keep tabs on it, man. I don't think both Rudy and Donovan get traded. And the Jazz just hired their head coach today, first-year guy. His name is Celtics assistant, so I should know this off the top of my head. But his name is kind of drawing a blank in my head. But first-year head coach, so I don't know. That's interesting to see what the direction of the team was. or is moving forward. They also just made a hire in the front office, so change could be happening, or they could just be trying to retool this team as good as they can to still be a mediocre team, a team that can win a playoff series, and that's really it. So we'll move on to the next team, but that would be great for the Miami Heat for sure. It would be. The Bucks, Otto Porter, yeah, they've been missing just wing depth since PJ Tucker decided to take more money in Miami, which I don't blame him. Otto Porter would be a good fit. Still a really good three-point shooter. Still a solid defender, too. Pretty good defender still, actually. He did a good job in the finals when he was matched with Jason Tatum as well. So this would be a good. I think Otto Porter's silently going to be a nice little commodity for a lot of contending teams in the NBA, this offseason. So I'm excited to see where he goes. And that's funny to say because Otto Porter is somebody that can impact championship basketball, which he just did. So I could see a lot of teams being willing to offer him some money. Victor Oladipo for the Timberwolves, mid-level exception is the way. Interesting. I would feel like VO might be able to get a little more than the mid-level exception. And that would be an interesting fit. We don't know what's going on with D-Lo, if he's going to be there or not. But you can never really have too many nice, solid two-way guards. And even though D-Lo improved defensively, he's a better defender. Would you be willing to run like a backcourt of Pat Bev and Victor Oladipo? Does that make you that much better? I'm not sure if it makes you better at all, but I don't know if the Miami Heat will be able to retain VO, though. I'll say that much. But I don't know. The Timberwolves definitely just need guys that are solid pros, can defend, and provide some type of offense. And vets. They need vets because you can see it on the court in the postseason. They lack some veteran leadership on that team. So they would definitely need somebody like VO. The Pelicans, Malik Monk. Sure, that would be a fine fit. Like, that would be okay. They have decent guard rotation, but they don't really have, like, a two guard like in there for real. Like, Herb Jones is there. Malik Monk will provide a nice spark. I like him going back to the Lakers because he plays so well. He said he's willing to take less money to go back because he plays so well. But also, as a young guy, I want to see him go get paid. And he had a good year, good enough to probably get paid more than taking a pay cut to stay with the Lakers, man. So we'll see. I'm just glad he kind of not resurrected his career, but had his best season of his career last year, going into a payday in the offseason as well. So that's good for Malik Monk. We'll see where he goes. Pelicans will be a decent fit. Kyrie Irving, we'll move on because the Knicks probably not getting Kyrie Irving. Isaiah Hartenstein for the Thunder. Why? They don't OKC would be a place for him. He isn't much older than the core. All the passers that they have, Giddey, SGA, Chet. Okay. Basically, to get a big in there that's still kind of young, that had shown flashes. I spent too much time reading that, man. Spent too much time. Anthony Thomas, no, I don't like this to the Magic. They already have so many guards. You got Cole, you got Markelle, Jalen Suggs, RJ Hampton. You got too many guards, bro. Even though I think Anthony Thomas is better than all those guards, if you're not getting rid of any of those young guards that you have, there's no point in bringing in another head that needs the ball. I don't like this. I don't like this, man. And you never know. Cole Anthony could develop into maybe the type of dude that Anthony has shown he is. I mean, they had similar type numbers last year. I don't like this. The Magic need to stay away from bringing in any guards unless it's like a trade or something. But that's just a cap space. The Sixers bring Andre Drummond back. Sure, he was very good for y'all, and then y'all let him go. But I feel like Drummond might. I think if you can bring him back, that's fine. If not, then just look elsewhere to get a big. But I do like what the 76ers have done so far. Getting DeAnthony Melton, I think, was not talked about enough on draft night. Sneaky good pickup for the Sixers, man. Very good there. The Suns, Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, if you're losing DeAndre Ayton, bringing in someone like Jakob would be very good. It would have to be a sign and trade. So, and so that would just have to be if the Spurs are willing to take DeAndre Ayton. From everything it looks like they're doing, at least if the rumors are true, they're looking to get off Dejounte Murray. It looks like they're going into a very hard reset, looking to next year's draft, which is star-stacked as far as I know. So, I don't know, but maybe there'll be other sign and trade situations if the Pacers are on the table. Maybe you can bring back Miles Turner and somebody else. Detroit, maybe you can bring back Isaiah Stewart. I don't know. Like, there might be other things available, but The Spurs one would make sense. Bringing back Jakob, that would make a lot of sense. He would probably have one of his best seasons of his career just playing alongside Chris Paul and Devin Booker. I like the fit. Does that make the Suns better? I don't know. You might want to get more back for DA, but I don't know. We'll see. Portland Trailblazers, TJ Warren. You already got somebody like Jeremy Grant. In my eyes, they're two similar type players. So I don't know if bringing in TJ Warren. Just to put it this way, if your offseason consists of getting Jeremy Grant and TJ Warren, and your goal is to build a contending type team around Dame, I don't think you're doing that good of a job. I like the Jeremy Grant move, but that can't be the move of their offseason. There has to be more, and I don't know if TJ Warren is the more piece. Plus, we haven't seen him play basketball basically since the bubble. So, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. A mid-level exception. I mean, if you can bring him in for that cheap, sure. That's fine. He is just 28. If he can be 85 to 90% of his previous self, he'll take a lot of scoring pressure off of Dame. Yeah, true, but then you're looking at a lineup of, Dame. In reality, you want to, I guess, have Anthony Simons be your two. TJ Warren, Jeremy Grant, and Nurkic? Maybe Nurk? I don't know. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me, in my opinion. And defensively, I don't love that team either. Sounds like a lot of the same problems that they've had. Maybe a little less of a scoring option, but better defender would be better, like a PJ Tucker type. Obviously, PJ Tucker's kind of one of one, but somebody like that might be better for Portland than bringing in another offensive-minded guy who's not really a good defender and who we haven't seen play basketball in 2 years. That's just my opinion. Next, the Kings, Caleb Martin. Sure, I guess. Just bring in the Kings. They just need solid players. Caleb Martin's very solid, good defender. Shown the ability to shoot the ball decently. But for a team that is trying their best to make the playoffs, is that a needle mover? I think they need to do a little more. We'll see what else the Kings have up their sleeve, if anything. But at least they got something good in the draft. I think Keegan Murray is going to be a very, very good pro. And I think he'll come in and help right away. But they have an interesting offseason. Do you bring DiVincenzo back? What do you do with Rashawn Holmes? I was expecting to see something like maybe a trade with the Hornets, like a PJ Washington move or something like that, but I guess not. So we'll move on to the next team, the Spurs, DeAndre Ayton. That's tied together to the Jakob signing trade. But I kind of want to see Dejounte Murray on a new team. If they're really trying to go full reset, I want to see Dejounte on a new team. Is that the Hawks? Heard the Cavs. Saw a Celtics trade fly on the timeline, which I think was kind of a lowball offer, but there's teams, the Nuggets, there's teams I think that can make a push for Dejounte Murray if you throw the right amount of picks. But if you're trying to contend, picks are overrated. Throw them picks away. If you're trying to contend and you look at your roster like, we got this guy, like the Celtics for example, or even the Nuggets, throwing in 3 first-round picks will probably be late first-round picks. Go ahead and make the move. Make the move, man. I don't see why not. So I was hoping to see someone send around Dejounte Murray, but I don't know. The Raptors, Rudy Gobert, I don't see this happening unless they all of a sudden make OG available, which NBA Twitter and reporters, they think OG is always available, but Masai Ujiri has never came out and said OG Anunoby is available for trade. Has never said that. People just make speculations, but yeah, it would be a good fit. I don't know if you want to mortgage some of your future just to bring in 30-year-old Rudy Gobert, who's going to be making like $50 million a year until he's like 34, 35. I don't know about that. This is probably one of the teams where I don't like Rudy going. Just one of the teams. The Jazz, Kyle Kuzma. Sure, I did hear, I guess Kuzma is available for trade. He had a good year last year. Yeah, I don't know. Moving Conley to another team, shifting Mitchell to the... Okay, yeah, we'll move on. I don't like the idea of Donovan Mitchell playing the point. He hasn't shown once in his career that he's capable of playing the point guard position. He's never shown that. Maybe he has it in his bag. Maybe, I think it's Coach Hardy. It's Hardy. Maybe he can get the most out of Donovan Mitchell being the lead ball handler. We haven't seen it, though. That would be a big if. big if. But bringing in Kuzma, who's shown improvements defensively, had one of his, I would say, better years last year. That wouldn't be a bad fit depending on what you would have to give up. But yeah, I don't know. The Jazz, we'll see. We haven't heard many rumors like I mentioned earlier, so we'll see what the rest of their offseason has in store. And then lastly, the Wizards, Mike Conley. They do need a point guard. It looks like Brad Beal's going to be back. I'm not mad at Brad for chasing his bag. Go get paid. If they're willing to pay you $250, go get paid, bro. Go get paid. Getting Mike Conley, that's like a slightly vertical move. Like you might get a little better. You might get a tad bit better. He's old. Contract will be up soon. If you want to build a playing team, sure, go get Mike Conley. Maybe that's where the Kuzma flip comes. If that happens, I guess, man. But yeah, that's a wrap. Pretty decent article by Andy Bailey. Shout out to him. Some trades I didn't agree with, or targets I didn't agree with. Some targets I did agree with, or free agent targets were good. Some I didn't even think of, like the Anthony Simons one was very, very decent. I like that a lot. Got me thinking. And the more I think about it, the more I like that move, man. But if you did enjoy, leave a like. Comment who your team should target this offseason, or who Andy Bailey had your team targeted. And I'll catch y'all next time with another video. Probably going to be coming out at random times. I can't make a schedule. But streaming Thursday for the start of free agency. So be sure you are tuned in for that. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.